This pink little blob has been seen in a ton of games, and today we're going to take a look at the second game in the series, Kirby's Adventure. It is best known for being the first game in the series to feature copy abilities, which are now synonymous with Kirby and the Kirby franchise, making this game at the very least as influential as Kirby's Dream Land in shaping successive games in the decades to come. It was also the first game to include sub-games, and this is also one of the most graphically advanced games released for the NES, released near the end of the console's life cycle. But it also has a great amount of unused content, some of which would be recycled for future Kirby games. And that's what we're going to look at today. Mostly the unused rooms, since there are a ton of those. First off, room 0014. This is the first of the 4 unused museum rooms. It contains one chili enemy, which gives the freeze ability. None of these unused museum rooms are finished. They're all missing the ability stamps above the enemies. The museum layout is similar to level 1's museum, but the enemy pillar is taller. Now these museums are bonus rooms found in most of the level lobbies in Kirby's Adventure and Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. They are spacious, mostly empty buildings, with the exception of 1 or 2 enemies standing on pedestals. These enemies are just replicas and do not move from their place, nor can they hurt Kirby. However, they can still be inhaled for a copy ability. The purpose of the museums is to offer Kirby certain copy abilities safely without the inconvenience of having to search for them in stages. So these are essentially rooms to get bonus stuff in. So of course a ton of them were made to put in different parts of the levels. And naturally, as the level layouts were changed during development, some of these were removed. And like I said, there are 4 of these. The one coming after this one is room 0015.
It features a Chili Pengy, who gives the ice ability, and then we have room 16, which gives the tornado ability. And for our last museum room, room 017, featuring Rocky and Sparky. All of them were once planned as bonus power-up rooms, but were scrapped in the end. Next up, rooms 07F up to 084. These ones are very different from the previous ones. In level 7-2, there is an alternate route that takes you to a harder minibus fight for 5 extra lives. Normally, they start at bunkers, skipping 3 bosses compared to the normal route. However, there is leftover data for harder versions of the 3 previous rooms, so it was considered that the player would have to fight all mini-bosses instead. Their respective stair segments are also unused. Now, why they scrapped this is unknown, but it could be that it was just too much for the player. Which is quite logical, since you have to fight them all and their difficulty is also increased. It would probably require quite some skill to clear this. You do want some difficult parts in your game, but you can also go too far, and that's probably why they removed it. Next, room 0137. This is a bit of a strange room. It's an arena room, but with a few differences. First, Mr. Frosty isn't using his alternate green palette. Second, the crowd in the arena isn't animated. Third, once you defeat Mr. Frosty, no Maxim Tomato drops down. This room exits to level 4's arena, which features Bugsy, not Mr. Frosty. What's going on here? Well, the only thing we can think of is that this was an alternate version of one of the arena rooms, most likely the one from level 4, since it exits there. Now, Frosty is a very different enemy from Bugsy, and I don't really know why they would swap them. We can also clearly see that this room isn't finished. The basics, like the animations of the crowd, just don't work. It could also be that this arena room was meant to appear somewhere else in the game, but was scrapped at some point. To be honest, we don't know exactly what this room was supposed to be used for and why they removed it. This will remain a bit of a mystery. Next, room 0145. This is a pretty cool cannon puzzle that's only accessible from the debug room. To get the cannon to fire, you have to pound the stake with a hammer or stone abilities, then quickly inhale the laser ball to get the laser ability. Next, quickly fire a laser at the slope at the bottom before the ice block appears to block you, and then hop into the cannon. It's tricky to get timed right, but it does work, and this is probably why they scrapped it. It's a cool idea, but difficult for the player, especially when you don't know what to do. And that's why they ditched it. However, it doesn't end here. Both the door and the cannon will take you to room 0146.
This place contains another stake puzzle. There's supposed to be a 1-up or Maxim Tomato in that gap in the ice. The upper stake destroys the block underneath the gap, and you'd have to get the item before it fell into the pit. And the lower stake just destroys the ice directly underneath it, Clearly, this room wasn't finished, since there's no reward. However, everything else does work, but it was probably scrapped together with the previous room, since they clearly belong together. Now on to the last one. At the end of the first room in stage 2 of Vegetable Valley is the name Hall in the form of many star blocks. However, it is inaccessible due to the warp star beforehand that forces the camera to stop going to the right. Oddly, a broom hatter is present on the L, and there's also a door just off the top of the screen that leads to the next area, though it cannot be reached normally. Many hall rooms, including this one, are also present in Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland, but they are all inaccessible without codes. Now this is clearly an Easter egg by the developers HAL Laboratory and nothing more. It was never meant to serve any purpose. And we think this room was the best way to end the video. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now. And why not subscribe? Because next week, we will have another video, which will also be tons of fun, so just subscribe, then you won't miss a thing.